Hello my yogis and welcome to Towne Yoga. In today's Towne Yoga practice we are going to do an Amy Towne series. So this is based off of sequences that I really enjoy in my practice or things that I really like to teach. So today we're going to be going through Warrior 1, 2, and 3 all put together in a vinyasa flow, and that will be today's practice. Props are optional, but if you have a bolster or if you can take a blanket and make it into something this similar shape, maybe even two pillows just stacked on top of each other, that'll be really nice in the opening and closing of our class today. So go ahead, set up your mat, grab a bolster or something similar if you have one, and we will start today's practice in a reclined posture laying down on our mat. So coming to your back and just maybe setting your props up underneath your thigh is my favorite, just down to the knee. And then letting your heels come to the corners of your mat with your feet gently splayed apart. Your palms face up by your sides, just here in a reclined savasana. And take a few slow, deep breaths here. As you inhale, feel your belly and chest lift, filling with air. Notice the little pause at the top of your breath. Before you exhale out, feeling your belly and chest compress back towards the earth. Noticing the pause at the bottom of your breath before you draw fresh air back in through your nose. Expanding, pausing, and then exhaling out your nose, becoming heavy towards the earth, pausing at the bottom. Take a few more slow, mindful rounds of breath, just kind of feeling your body's rhythm as it expands and contracts with the air coming in and out. Maybe let your next few breaths be a little bit deeper, drawing air further down into your belly as you inhale. Pausing a touch longer at the top. And gently contracting your abdominals back as you exhale all the air out through your nose. Pausing a little longer at the bottom. And then inhaling that nice, slow, deep breath again. Taking one or two more rounds here at your breath pace, feeling that little massage from your inhales and exhales. Before you begin to draw your knees up into your chest, taking one hand to rest on top of each shin. And then just gently rocking side to side to massage out your lower back and hips. Pausing back here in stillness. Extend your legs straight, sending the soles of your feet up towards the sky, flexing your toes back towards your shins. Just bring your hands to rest by your sides for a moment here. As you draw your toes back, you might feel a little stretch over the bottoms of your feet and up the back of your heels and calves, the back of your lower leg. Feeling a little engagement in the muscles in the front of your leg as you draw the ball of your foot back towards your shin. And then from here, we're going to do a little inner thigh opener. Go ahead and bring the soles of your feet together as you bend your knees out wide. Your legs make a diamond. And then set the pinky blade of each foot down on top of your bolster, your blanket, your props. Letting your knees open, feeling a stretch through your inner thigh. If it's too much, you can always bring your feet a little apart and off your props to the earth, a little gentler version. Or maybe you stay just here with me for a few breaths in our bound angle pose supported by a bolster or props. Palms up by your sides as you find your breath again here. Taking one more slow exhale here before taking your hands to your outer thighs to draw your knees up in together. And then hug your knees to your chest, hands on top of shins as you rock side to side again. And then rock all the way over onto one side, planting the opposite palm in front of your chest and using that to press yourself up to a seat. Just moving your bolster, blanket, props off to the side. As you come here into a crossed ankle position, maybe you'd like to sit on a pillow to bring a little more height to your hips if that feels good. When you come into your comfortable seat, just rest your hands down, close your eyes as you tuck your chin to chest for a moment. And then tip your chin up and back, stretching the front of your neck. Before coming into the center, a nice neutral spine. From here, we're going to take a little side body stretch. As you inhale, sweep your arms out to the side and then up overhead. Exhale, lower your left hand down to your blanket or your mat. And sweep your right arm over. Maybe you bend your left elbow a bit as you find a nice stretch through the outside of your right ribs. You can play with the angle of your chin here. Try turning it down or up to see what feels best. Feeling your right hip stay grounded towards the earth for one more breath. And then inhale, lifting all the way up. Exhale your right hand down, sweeping your left arm up and over. Maybe you bring a little bend to your elbow or walk your hand out. Feeling your left hip stay heavy, play with the angle of your chin. Finding a good spot to pause and breathe into. On your next inhale, lift all the way back up. And then exhale your palms down to your heart center. Just bowing down for a grounding breath here. Releasing your hands down, your gaze comes back to neutral. We're going to come to a tabletop from here. Some yogis like to rock right forward. I like to take both feet off to one side and then walk hands forward. And as you find your tabletop, go ahead and stack your wrist underneath your elbows and shoulders with a gentle spread to your fingers, pointers pointing to the top of your mat. Find your knees just underneath your hips and the tops of your feet press down while your heels press up. We'll come to our cat-cows. First, coming to our cat spine, press away from the earth, rounding your spine, tucking your tailbone under. Feeling that rounding through your shoulders as you tip your chin to your chest. Taking a full breath, or 2 or 5 here. On your next inhale, lower your belly down, tipping your chin gently up and away, finding an arch through your spine. Taking a full few breaths here in your cow spine now. And we'll start to flow, exhaling to your cat as you round. Inhaling to your cow as you arch. Enjoy taking a few breaths, just flowing between these two poses. Linking your movements with your breath. At any point throughout our practice, when you want to come back to grounding, this is one of the options. You can always come to your cat-cow. It's a great way to link your breath and movement back up before coming into a flow. Taking one more full round before you settle back into a neutral spine between these two extremes. Feeling your belly draw up to your spine, your neck long as you look to the top of your mat. And from here, just go ahead and bend your elbows, setting them back to your knees, bringing your forearms down to the earth. So you can lift your palms and set them back down with that gentle spread through your fingers pointing to the top of your mat. Lift back up, stacking elbows and shoulders before you tuck your toes and send your hips up and back to downward facing dog. When you get here, go ahead and walk your dog, bending one knee and then the other as you send your heels to and from the earth. Feeling that stretch over the bottoms of your feet, tracing it up over your ankles, the backs of your legs. And then pausing back in stillness for a moment. Lift your heels away from your mat, coming up high onto the balls of your feet. Bend your knees a few inches, and then use this relaxation in the back of your legs so that you can send your hips a bit higher, pressing your chest back towards your thighs. Shrug your shoulders up to your ears, and then release them down your back, your neck long, with this nice long spine. Begin to straighten your legs again. Maybe your heels come down to the earth, maybe they don't. Mine always stay a little lifted, especially early in my practice. Don't want to sacrifice the long spine just to get your heels to the ground, so find the best posture for you. We're going to take a gentle vinyasa flow here. As you inhale, look to your hands and shift forward to your plank. Feeling that stack of shoulders over wrist, heels over toes, pressing the earth away. From your plank, we're going to modify lowering down to the knees. Hips stay in front, belly lifted. Lowering all the way to your mat, send your elbows back towards your ribs, heart forward, lowering your chest and chin down. Release your belly, untuck your toes, pressing the tops of your feet to the earth. Draw your shoulders together, and as you look forward, lift up through your chin and chest, coming to a cobra pose. Let's take one more. Exhale down. Elbows together. Inhale, lift, finding your cobra. Exhale back through your tabletop. Tuck your toes and return to downward facing dog. Walking it out again for a breath or two if that feels good. Before pausing in stillness for an extended child's pose, lower your knees as wide as your mat. Untuck your toes, bringing your big toes together as you sit your hips down and back, arms out in front. Taking a few grounding breaths here as you feel your lower back release a bit. Your shoulders wide across your back as your elbows come down. Take one more full breath here in your extended child's pose. As you inhale, lift back up to hands and knees. And come to a tabletop with your knees under your hips, wrists under shoulders, feet straight back behind. Finding that nice neutral spine as you look to the top of your mat. Tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog again. As you inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees and take lots of small steps to the top of your mat, stretching all along the way. When you reach the top, look forward, lengthening up through your spine. Exhale, forward fold, bending your knees as you let your chest rest on your thighs. Your head heavy towards the earth, hands come to frame your feet. And here I like to just walk it out a little, bending one knee and straightening the other leg a bit. Just stretching the backs of your legs by straightening one at a time, bending the other. Maybe not all the way straight, just a little walk here. Pausing back in stillness, bring a deep bend to your knees, let your head be heavy towards the earth. And inhale, roll up your spine one vertebrae at a time. No rush as you make your way to standing, drawing shoulders back and down, palms forward. Crown of your head lifts in your mountain pose. From here, we're going to take one Sun A flow. As you inhale, sweep your arms out, up, overhead. Exhale, forward fold, taking your path down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, extended spine. Exhale, plant your hands, stepping back into your plank. Pausing here for an inhale. Exhale, chaturanga, heart forward, elbows back towards ribs, pausing as you hover. Inhale, upward facing dog, untucking your toes as your arms straighten, chest lifts. Exhale, downward facing dogs, hips to the sky as you tuck toes back under, returning to downward facing. Pausing here for a few breaths. Taking one or two more breaths here in movement or in stillness. As you inhale, look to your hands. Exhale, bend your knees and step to the top of your mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale, reverse your swan dive, leading up through chin and chest. Sweep your arms out, up, overhead. And then exhale your palms down through heart center and to your sides, pausing for another breath here in your mountain pose. Taking another grounding breath or two. Next, we're going to forward fold, stepping back into our runner's lunge and then taking a low lunge to a warrior one. And we'll do that on each side. So here in your mountain pose, inhale, sweep your arms out, up, overhead. Exhale, forward fold, taking your path down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, extending your spine. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands, and step your left foot nice and far back behind you. Pausing in your runner's lunge, taking a moment to get there. And you'll know you're there when you find your front knee over your front heel, your back heel lifted up over your back toes. Feeling that weight come down to your front heel and out through each toe. And then set your back knee down. If you'd like, you can untuck your toes here. And we're in our low lunge, supported by our hands still. If you'd like to bring your hands up with me, take a moment to engage your glutes. Drawing your navel up to spine, helping protect that stretch at the front of the hip here. And then as you look forward, walk your hands to your knee. Checking in on how things feel here, and if they feel good, maybe extend each arm up overhead into your low lunge, feeling both strength and stretch here for a few breaths. Inhale, look to your hands. And then exhale, walk your hands back to your knee. And then set them down to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toes under, lifting your back knee up. You're in runner's lunge again. For warrior one, shorten your stance just a bit, maybe the length of one of your feet, just walking your back foot up a little. Turn that 45 degrees and then set your heel down. Bending through your front knee, send your hips forward, shoulders forward, lift your fingertips up. And come into your warrior one. Taking a moment again to feel that front knee stacked over your heel. The weight comes down and then out through each toe. Same amount of weight presses through your back leg, which is straight and strong. Your back foot's at about 45 degrees, maybe a little different, finding the best angle for you. So you get a nice stretch of the front of your left hip here. To protect your back, continue to draw your navel up to your spine. And we'll take another breath or two here in warrior one, hips and shoulders forward. One more inhale, maybe looking up to your hands. And then exhale, bring your palms down to frame your foot. Turn your back heel up, bend your back knee, and step left up to right. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, folding down, bending both knees as you plant your hands, and then step your right foot nice and far back behind you. Taking time to find your runner's lunge with your front knee stacked over heel. Back heel stacked over toes. And then lower your back knee down, untuck your toes if that feels good. Engage your glutes, draw your navel up to spine, and then looking forward, maybe you walk your hands to your knee. Checking in on how things feel here. Lifting navel to spine still, maybe you extend your arms up overhead. Pausing in your low lunge for a few breaths, again finding that strength and stretch. Take one more inhale, maybe look to your hands. Exhale your hands back to your knee, and then set them down to frame your foot. Tucking your back toes under, lift your back knee up. Shortening your stance just a touch so you can turn your back foot down 45 degrees, setting your heel to the earth. Front heel and back heel are basically in a line as you bend into your knee, look forward, lifting up, hips, shoulders, and arms extended out in front. Taking your time, maybe playing with how big your stance is, where you're sending your weight, and then finding your breath here. Take one more inhale, maybe looking up to your hands. Exhale your hands down to frame your foot. Turning your back heel up and then bend your knee, stepping right up to left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, reverse your swan dive all the way up to standing. Before exhaling your palms down through heart center and back to your sides in your mountain pose. Just taking a breath here to ground again. Now we're going to take a sun A into our warrior two. As you inhale, sweep your arms out, up, overhead. Exhale, forward fold your path to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, extended spine. Exhale, plant your hands and step or float through your vinyasa flow here. If you're joining me, you'll step back to a plank, press the earth away. Send your heart forward, elbows back, lowering to chaturanga. Untuck your toes as you lift up through hips and chest. Inhale, upward facing dog. Continuing to lift up through your hips, tuck your toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pausing here for a few breaths in movement or stillness, yogi's choice. Coming to our three-legged dog, inhale your right leg up to the sky, flexing your toes to shin. Feel both hip points facing down to the earth. Exhale, draw your right knee to your nose, pressing away as you draw your heel up to your bum. And then set your right foot down. Maybe it only comes here. Maybe you can set it between your hands. Either way, take the time to walk until you're back in your runner's lunge, front knee over heel. Back heel lifted up over toes. We're going to cartwheel up to our warrior two. So here, turn your back foot down that 45 degrees. Your front heel and back arch are in a line. Reach forward with your left hand like you're about to shake hands. And then turn your thumb down. Lift up through your left pinky. And then let your right hand push you up off the ground as you cartwheel into your warrior two. Turning both palms down. Bringing attention first down to your feet. Look over your right knee and make sure you can see your right toe on the inside there. If your right knee's falling in, feel that arch in your right foot lift and the outer edge of your right hip engage to send your knee out over your toes. Pressing equally through your back foot. Bend in your right knee, stacking it over your heel, back leg straight and strong. And we'll reverse our warrior today. As you inhale, turn your right palm up, reach it forward and then sweep it up overhead, sending your left arm down your back leg. Feeling that stretch through your side body, kind of like when we open practice together, seated. Keeping that bend in your right knee. Inhale, lift back up to your warrior two. Exhale, cartwheeling down, sending your right hand to the outside. Left hand to the inside, back heel turns up, returning to your runner's lunge. We'll take a twist here. Plant your left hand to the earth. And inhale your right fingertips out to the side and up to the sky. Feeling both hip points still facing down. Exhale your right hand to frame your foot. Coming out the same way we came in, inhale, draw your heel to bum, and then kick it back to a three-legged dog. Exhale through your vinyasa flow. I'm going to keep the right leg lifted, shifting forward into the plank and lowering down to chaturanga. Setting right and then left down as I inhale to upward facing. And exhale back to downward facing. Taking that warrior two flow on our second side. Inhale your left leg up to the sky. Toes to shin, hip points both towards your mat. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose, hugging your heel up to your bum. And then set your left foot or get your left foot between your hands, taking your time to get there. When you're in that nice runner's lunge, knee stacked over heel, back heel over toes. Turn your back foot down about 45 degrees, front heel and back arch are in a line. Reach forward with your right hand to shake. Turn your thumb down, lifting up through your pinky. Let your left hand push you away from the earth as you cartwheel up to your warrior two on your second side. Again, taking time to find your feet, seeing your inner toe on the inside of your left knee. Equal weight through your back foot as you lift up through your pelvis, shoulders drawn together, neck long, as you just gaze out over your front fingertips here. Inhale, turning your left palm up. Reach it forward and sweep it overhead, right leg coming down, right arm down your back leg. Take the time here to feel that opening in your left ribs as you continue to bend into your left knee. Inhale back to warrior two. Exhale, cartwheeling down, left hand to the outside, right hand to the inside, back heel turns up. Pausing here, plant your right hand to the earth and inhale your left arm out and up into your twist. As you exhale, bring your hand down to frame your foot. Inhale, heel to bum, three-legged dog. And exhale through your vinyasa flow. Maybe keeping that leg lifted before you inhale to upward facing. And exhale back to downward facing. From here, we're going to come to a tabletop, lowering your knees under your hips, finding wrist under shoulders as you untuck your toes. And we'll come back to our breath for your few cat-cows. Exhaling as you press away from the earth, rounding your spine. Inhaling as you send your belly down, tipping your chin up and away. Enjoying a few flows here. Pausing back in stillness at a nice neutral spine. Tuck your toes, sending your hips to the sky. And then look to your hands, bend your knees, and step or float to the top of your mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, forward folds. And inhale, reverse your swan dive all the way up to standing. Exhaling your palms through heart center. And to your sides again. Pausing for a breath. Beautiful, my yogis. We're going to take one more flow here, and this is going to be our warrior three. So we had warrior one, warrior two, and now we'll come into our warrior three. Starting in mountain pose again with your palms forward. Inhale, sweep your arms out, up, overhead. Exhale, forward fold your path down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, extended spine. Exhale, plant your hands and step or float through your vinyasa. If you're joining me, pause for a moment in plank. And then send your heart forward, elbows back as you exhale down. Tuck your toes, inhale, rising to upward facing dog. And send your hips to the sky, exhaling back to downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up to the sky again. Exhale, drawing your right knee to your nose, planting your foot between your hands. Maybe taking some time to get here. No rush, we'll meet here in our runner's lunge again. We're going to lift up to a crescent lunge before our warrior three. So take a moment to feel your back heel stacked over your toes, your front knee stacked over heel. Drawing your thighs in towards each other, look forward and inhale up to fingertips and then rise to your crescent. Finding that nice deep bend in your front knee and a straight and strong back leg. If you notice any back pain, maybe bend your back knee for a moment, just lifting navel to spine, strong belly before you extend straight and arms up. For our warrior three, go ahead and lean your chest forward about 45 degrees. Call this our charging warrior, feeling your right hip engage as you keep your ankle, knee, and hip in a line. Look forward as you lift your left toes up, pausing here in your warrior three, flexing toes to shins, both hip points facing down. Taking one more inhale here. Before you exhale, bending your right knee, setting your left toes down, back in your charging warrior. Inhale up to crescent lunge. And then exhale your hands down to frame your foot. We're going to come to a twist and then a lizards. Planting your left hand to the earth, inhale your right arm up to the sky. From here, heel toe your right foot out to the right edge of your mat. And then release your right hand to the inside of your foot. Now we're here in a high lizard's lunge, so you can stay right here if this stretch feels good. Or I have a few options. You can open your right knee out to the right, kind of drawing the sole of your foot up a bit if that feels nice. You can stay on your hands or maybe lower down to a block or the ground. I will lower down to my bolster. That's a good height for me today. And in this lizard's lunge, you can keep your back knee lifted, or you can lower it down to the earth, keeping toes tucked or untucked. Feel free to explore your options. We will pause here for a few breaths, so you can try out more than one, or you can stay in one and kind of give it the time it needs to release. And this lizard's lunge is a deeper hip stretch. So when you're here, pause for a moment and check in through your breath. As you inhale, breathe down into your belly and hips, maybe finding a little bit of space there. As you exhale, gently release into the stretch, not forcing it, because there's another breath right after to do just a little more work in. So take your time in this lizard's lunge, finding the version that's best for you today, and then letting your breath guide you through the pose. Taking one or just a few more slow rounds of breath here. To come out safely, make sure you stack your right knee over your heel. Lift back up to your palms, removing any props off to the side. If your back knee is down, you'll tuck your toes and lift your back knee up. Here we are in this high lizard's lunge again. Take a nice strong transition out as you press through your palms. Inhale your right heel out to the side and then back into your plank. Exhale to downward facing dog. Maybe you fit an extra vinyasa in real quick, or maybe you take a child's pose. If you'd like to join me in the vinyasa style, inhale forward to plank. Exhale chaturanga, elbows back towards ribs. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, hips high, downward facing dog. We're going to take that warrior three flow on our second side now. As you inhale, send your left foot up to the sky, flexing your toes to your shins, hips down. Exhale, knee to nose, planting your left foot between your hands, taking your time to get into your runner's lunge. Knee stacked over heel, back heel over toes. Drawing thighs in towards each other as you look forward, lifting up to your crescent lunge, hips and shoulders forward to the top of your mat. Bending into your front knee, your back leg straight and strong, making any little adjustments you need to feel good in this posture. Feel challenged, but good. A big challenge on the balance here, so enjoy the work of those stabilizers. In this crescent lunge, you're going to lean forward about 45 degrees, feeling the outside edge of your left hip work. Inhale, lifting your right foot from the earth, coming to your warrior three. As you reach forward through your hands and back through your heel, both hip points facing down to the earth. Bend your left knee, setting your right toes down. And then inhale back up to your crescent lunge. Exhaling your hands down to frame your foot. Plant your right hand to the earth and inhale your left arm up to the sky. Walk your left foot out to the left edge of your mat. Exhale your left hand to the inside of your left foot. And here we are, set up for our lizard's lunge on the second side. You can leave your knee stacked or open it out to the side. Stay here on your hands or lower down to a prop or the mat. Back knee can stay up or you can lower it down. Toes tucked or untucked. Lots of options here. Depending on your tightness, that high lizard's lunge might feel great today, or maybe you do want to get down a little bit further in. Whichever you choose, when you do find your version, take the time to slow down and breathe again. The hips just don't release all at once. Inhale deep into your belly, finding some space. Exhale, gentle release and lengthening through the stretch. Giving it the time it needs, no rush. It's also the beauty of an at-home practice. Feel free to pause and stay here a lot longer if that feels really good to you today. Taking your last few breaths here in lizard's lunge. Begin to draw your knee up over your heel. Returning back to your palms, removing any props off to the side. If your back knee is down, tuck your toes and lift it up. Pressing down through your palms back here in our high lizard's lunge again. You're going to inhale, sweep your left heel out to the side and then back into your plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Yogi's choice if you'd like to take another vinyasa or maybe just take a child's pose. I'm going to do a gentle vinyasa here, inhaling forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin down to the earth. Untucking your toes as you inhale to a cobra. Exhaling back through tabletop, tucking toes, returning to downward facing dog. From here, let's take a traditional child's pose, lowering your knees down, walking your hands back towards your thighs as you sit to your heels, and then just turn your palms face up by your sides as you bring your head down. Remembering you have that extended child's pose option with knees wide, arms in front if it feels better for you. Take one more breath here in your child's pose. Before you inhale, lifting up through your chin and chest, planting your hands next to your feet, and sitting on your heels. Taking a breath as you pause here. And we'll transition to our backs. Go ahead and take your hands off to one side, your feet off to the other, and then scoot your feet all the way around, soles in front. And then just scoot to the top of your mat. So you can plant your feet down, hips to the earth, hands to knees, with space to roll back behind you. As you find your nice long spine here, strong belly, extend your arms in front of your chest, palms facing in. And then exhale, roll down to the earth, one vertebrae at a time, with no rush to get there. When you do, you extend your arms up overhead, your legs out straight, and just stretch end to end for a moment. Inhale, drawing your right knee to your chest, taking your hands on top of your shin. As you hug your knee in here, if you find any pinching at the front of your hip, just open it to the side a bit. Finding a good spot to hug for compression. Excuse me. We're going to stretch the outside of our right hip here. So as you inhale, draw your left heel up towards your bum, planting your foot on the earth. And then take the outside of your right ankle and rest it on top of your left knee. As you press your right knee away out to the side, bring your left palm on top of your hip and just kind of feel a little stretch here. Continuing to flex your right toes up towards your shin, engaging the muscles along your shin to help protect your knee. If it feels good to stay right here, then you can stay right here. Or maybe you'll join me in taking the right hand and reach it between your legs, left hand to the outside. Lift your left foot from the earth and interlace your fingers behind your thigh. You can also use a towel if you want a little bit more space to come behind your leg. From here, you're just going to draw your left thigh in towards your torso, your right knee opening out to the right for a nice stretch on the outside of your right hip. If you don't feel much, you can always walk your hands all the way around your shin, as long as you can still release and relax back to the earth. So yogi's choice where you'd like to take this pose. Coming back to your breath again here. As you exhale, release your hands, setting your left foot down. Inhale your right leg up to the sky, and then set it down as well. You can take your arms out open wide into a T for this twist, or maybe cactus depending on your space, bending at your elbows, pointing your fingers behind you. And just walk your right foot over to your left, and then lower your knees down to the left and turn your gaze over to the right. Pausing here in your twist. Take one more slow round of breath as you inhale a little space, exhaling through the twist, and then inhaling, drawing your knees back up to the center, walking your right foot out in front of your hip again, and setting your palms down by your sides. From here, extend your legs out straight, reaching arms overhead as you stretch end to end again. And we'll come to our second side, inhaling your left knee up towards your armpit, resting your hands atop each shin. Taking the time to find a spot where you can hug without any pinching and just hold there for a few breaths. For our outer left hip stretch, draw your right heel up towards your bum, planting the sole of your foot just in front. And then take the outside of your left ankle, resting on top of your right knee. Left hand comes to left knee as you press gently out to the side. Taking your right hand to the top of your right, just pause here for a breath. Maybe it feels good to stay just here. Or you can take your left hand, reaching it between your legs, right hand to the outside of right as you lift your right foot up and interlace your fingers behind your thigh. Drawing your thigh into your chest with your left knee out wide to the left. Remembering you can also walk your hands around your shin if that feels good. Choosing your adventure today in our stretch here at the end of this yoga practice. Taking a few more slow, deep breaths as you stretch the outer hip. Exhale, release your thighs, setting your right foot down. Inhale your left leg up to the sky before setting it down as well. From here, you can open your arms out wide to a T or maybe a little cactus, walking your left foot next to your right, and then lowering your knees over to the right as you look over to your left, pausing here as you breathe in this gentler twist. Finding space with your inhale and lengthening through the twist on your exhale. Taking one more slow exhale here before you inhale, drawing your knees back to center, walking your left foot out so that both feet are in front of your hips, and then taking your palms down by your sides. One last pose here will be our happy baby before Savasana. So go ahead and take your knees up towards your armpits, and then keeping your knees bent, send the soles of your feet up towards the sky. Reach your hands to the center of your knees, and maybe today you just grab your ankles, drawing your knees down, finding a stretch here. Or you can walk your hands to the outside edge of each foot, pressing your foot into your hands, your hand into your foot, as you send the base of your spine down towards the top of your mat. If you're in happy baby, it might feel nice to just rock side to side a little bit. Taking a last few breaths here for your stretch before releasing your feet, hugging your knees into your chest, and then setting your feet down, your palms by your sides, face up. And you can walk out into your final resting pose, bringing the heels to the corners of your mat. If you'd like, you can join me, sliding that bolster back underneath thighs for supported Savasana. Your feet naturally splay apart as you return back to the natural rhythm of your breath here. And I'll stay with you for a few breaths in Savasana today and cue you back up to seated. Coming back into this reclined posture, feel that inhale through your nose again. Your belly gently rises. Notice the pause you take at the top of your breath before exhaling out your nose. Belly gently pressing back to spine. Noticing the pause at the bottom of your breath. And just following that cycle a few times. Staying present in your body a little longer here. If you notice your mind start to wander, just gently guide it back to the present moment by noticing where you are in your breath cycle and following it all the way through into the next breath. Slowly begin to introduce some gentle movement back into your fingers and toes, maybe your wrist and ankles. From here, inhale one arm up over your head, And then exhale, turn to that side as you bend your knees, maybe rolling off your prop, planting the opposite palm in front of your chest. I invite you to keep your eyes closed as you press yourself from here back up to a simple seat. Just rolling your props out of the way as you come to seated with a cross at your ankles. Hands resting back in your lap. And seated, find a nice strong belly and long spine. As you inhale, sweeping your arms out, up, overhead. And then exhaling your palms down to heart center. Just bowing in for a moment to seal in your practice with a nice grounding breath. And looking up as you blink back open. Yogis, thank you so much for joining me today in one of my favorite Warrior 1, 2, 3 series. I hope that you enjoyed it and that you check out some of my other videos and enjoy them as well. If you have comments, please feel free to leave your comments. If you enjoyed this video and know someone else who would like it, share it with them. Like, subscribe, and of course, become a part of my community, checking out Towne Yoga on Patreon. With that, with hands at heart center, I'd like to say that the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Namaste.